lady. This has been an overwhelming experience for Shar and for me. The selection of all of the events that were in the cabinets and around the exhibit bring back tremendous memories of sometimes battles, sometimes triumphs, but many, many dear, loyal friends who worked with us. And so many are here today. I'm so grateful to each one of you. I really thank you for your friendship at the time that we worked together, frequently in very controversial ways, and the staying power of our friendship really throughout the years as we have followed each other's lives and careers, the growth of each other's families, and all of the things that brought us together originally and that led us to try to do things for our communities, for Indiana, for our country. And let me just say that I'm especially pleased that Shar and I have had 4 sons who were really terrific, and 2 are here today, John and Bob. I mentioned Bob, first of all, because he is my farmer. Bob keeps track of the 604 acres in Marion County that my dad purchased in the 1930s. Dad passed away decades ago, and I've been managing the farm on behalf of the family. And mention is made in the exhibits today of the Lugar farm. It's 604 acres of soybeans and corn and hardwood trees. It came inside the city limits of Indianapolis during Gov't. Sort of a large hunk, really, of Marion County. I come to speak of it. But I'm indebted to Bob for that work. John has done a terrific job in terms of our so-called Lugar Center in Washington. We have a think tank now. This is the 5th year. One of the nice things about it is that it is tied right together with Indiana University. There is one space there at one end of the room are the offices of Indiana University personnel, and at the other end, the Lugar Center, and in between, a space with beautiful views of Washington, where parties can be held, or board meetings, or serious meetings, as the case may be, a kitchen area behind there. But we're so grateful that week in and week out, Indiana University people, whether they are students or alumni or people interested in the university, are there in the center. We have opportunities to visit with them and to maintain and even grow stronger ties with this great university. And of course, thrilled with the Hamilton Lugar naming and with the opportunity to continue to work with my very dear friend Lee Hamilton. We talked yesterday, in fact, about conference committees in the Congress, in which Lee would be at one end of the table as a Democrat, chairman or ranking member of the House Armed Services or Foreign Affairs Committee, and I as chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee. It was a great experience for us then. It continues to be a great experience now. The conference that the president has just mentioned, America and IU in Indiana and the world, terrific papers and presentations here. And I'm so grateful to be a professor of practice, as they call it. I'm grateful to have an opportunity to have an office there in our new building, as Lee does, and to be close to all of you in that respect likewise. Dean Feinstein has done a terrific job as the dean of our school. I've appreciated his work earlier on as a diplomat for America and as one who has made a difference, I believe, in the world long before I came to IU and continues to do that work now. Let me just say that as I look at these exhibits and the care with which items were selected, years have gone by, lots of things happened. Year by year, whether it was on the farm or in education or in the military service or in even more difficult and controversial issues in which we were involved, and there have been many. We've sort of taken on a good number of fights that we felt were important, and I thank everybody who contributed thoughts to the book, and as well as the authors of this beautiful book. When I first saw it, I was overwhelmed, as you would be, if you suddenly were presented with a book about your life and your career. And it was so perfectly written with magnificent photographs, year by year, of our family members and our business people, our IU friends, people in Congress. This is a real keeper for me. I will be thumbing through it many, many times in the future. Finally, I just simply want to mention that one of the things that I advise young people here at IU who come to me and want to have sort of confidential advice about a public career, about politics. I suggest, first of all, do no wrong. But by that I mean, in a day in which we have the horrors of the social media and all sorts of indiscretions that in the past might have been back somewhere else's dossier, they now are likely to be spread and really cause real harm long before you have a chance really to get into serious issues and ways of serving people. But then the second thing, after you do no harm, be sure to find someone as your partner in marriage who shares your views of service, who is really prepared for all the ups and downs that come with that public scrutiny and public service. I was grateful at Denison University to meet Charlene Smeltzer. She was a philosophy major from Detroit, Michigan. And we met in philosophy class, and I certainly had high regard for her there. I, however, was in a romance with another lady on campus. And I had given my fraternity pin, my Beta Theta Pi pin, to this lady. It turned out reciprocally, Charlene had accepted a pin from another man. But we won't go into all of that. The major point that I want to make is that it came time for really serious business at Denison University. We had the student body elections. Denison was way ahead of the game. We had it was a man and a woman co-presidents. And there were two separate elections in which all the students voted in both elections. And I remember Char coming to the Beta House for the campaign experience. It was a rather rough and tumble luncheon. And it was a table was set out. It probably was 20 feet long, maybe that overstates it, but there were people, brothers on both sides. Somebody asked, please pass the spaghetti. And one of my Beta brothers literally slid the spaghetti all the way down the table. I thought, oh my goodness. Char is looking not terror-stricken, but wondering what kind of an outfit this is that I'm involved with. But in any event, we survived her visit to the Beta House, and we were both elected that day of the election. And so fortunately, I decided it was time really to get serious about our working together, and I asked Char if she would come downtown. In Granville, Ohio, there is the Heights where Denison is on the hill, and the downtown area where there was the coffee shop, to have a cup of coffee and think about life in the times. And we did think about life in the times. We thought a great deal about it. As a matter of fact, it was the beginning of a romance that day. And this led, of course, to two unpinnings. We had to work out those problems before we got on to serious business. And then to the award of my beta pen to Char, in a very appropriate circumstance, with the Beta brothers gathered in a chorus in front of her window. They had taken, all the lights were out in the dormitory, just the lights around Charlene, and she sat there, and I tried to sing the Beta Sweetheart song, tried to work up courage so that there was some sound coming out at a point, but succeeded in doing that. This, of course, life is never without complexities. I was fortunate enough to win the Rhodes Scholarship, and I appreciated Herman Wells, who was then president of IU, as one of the judges of that particular situation, and was headed off to Oxford. This left Charlene back here in the United States. She headed off to Northwestern to continue her philosophy studies, but in any event, came over with my mother and my sister in the summertime, and I made a proposal of marriage at Lake Lucerne. I felt was properly romantic. And once we got back home, we were married. I volunteered then for the Navy promptly, so that was another total adventure in our life, in which she suffered through the OCS period and all the rest of the assignments. I mention all of this because as I look at all of these exhibits today, I think of Char and me, the two of us together, as we have worked through ways of trying to help people, whether it was with her March of Dimes and the maternity issues, or my feeding the world and the children in our country, or things that were very important to both of us. And so I thank you for allowing me to say a few words today at the time of the dedication of these archives, because she's enthusiastic as I am about your receiving them, about your wanting to have them. Hundreds of boxes came to this campus, hundreds. I didn't make it an actual count, but I think maybe 600 to 800 boxes, and maybe more. And those who have done the work today, out of all of this, plucked the items that were relevant for this beautiful exhibit, and have done the work that's necessary for scholars who want to find out, really, what we had to say, what we wrote, what we did during a long stretch of public life. I thank each one of you again for sharing this moment with Char, with me, with John and Bob, with all of you who have been so close to us. It's a very highly emotional moment for us. I think you can understand. And I thank you, Mr. President, and the First Lady for leading off our discussion today and for your beautiful tributes. Thank you so very much.